Back in the common room, we see that there are not many people left. After the game, Namgyu is upset that his cross pendant with the pills is gone because he's noticing that it's gone, and he tries to go back into the labyrinth to find it, but the guards prevent him. They say, nope, can't go back in. And it's this point that old lady and Junhee arrive back in the common room with a baby in tow. And all the others are obviously a bit taken aback by the fact that there's now a baby here. You know, like,
including
oh,
the
shit,
audience,
baby, I guess you had it.
Who are waiting, obviously, for the officials to take the baby and be like, what the fuck? And then organize with Frontman, what is the precedent for a contestant giving birth during the games? We're not going to get our answer on what the game people feel about the baby for a long time.
Nope. Which you think they would keep in mind, considering that they know she's pregnant. This is something that you should plan for. But, and also we see Gihan has been brought back, and he's handcuffed to the bed frame once more. We don't have to talk about the Neul plot. Now, the guards arrive, and the manager lets everyone know that 35 players were eliminated. And now only 25 players are left, and each person's share is now 1.7 billion won per person. And then they will hold a vote to continue the games. Now, we see we're in a different area now. We're at the VIP dinner table, essentially, and all the VIPs and the front man are there. He's with the VIPs, and they're all wearing like these masks around a dinner table, and they talk about, whoa, it sure is a thrilling thing to actually be able to participate in the games, and I just thought watching was fun. Well, and they just do this dialogue, and like I said, you gotta hear it to know how bad it is. Clearly the person who wrote this and how it's being acted out, these are not native natural English speakers as you would know them. It's very stilted and strange.
But honestly, though, it's like perfect for if you wanted to create a scene in a movie where a character has entered like a different dimension or a world that's not quite their own, or like I said, a dream sequence or something. The way they talk is perfect for that. But for this, it's like, are you guys okay? Are you all broken? Like, what's happened to you? Who did this to you? Is the meme that they had mentally retarded?
Is what it is.
Yeah,
it's like the dialogue has been written by 4 kids or something. It's just. Yeah.
Well, the part that I don't get, of course, because a lot of people say this is what it's like, guys. This is what it's like when all other countries experience watching their countrymen speak in a big American movie or whatever. And I'm just like, they're huge. They couldn't get one advisor? One person just to be like, hey, couldn't they get Cate Blanchett? Tell them what to do?
I don't think they have that kind of money.
No, okay, fair.
But yeah, back in the common room. Go ahead.
Isn't the primary audience American for this? I haven't looked at the viewership breakdown geographically.
Presumably, I
think the main audience isn't. It's a Netflix production anyway.
The nature of its creation, you just would have thought this would be a good studio note. It's like, hey, whenever you film whatever those VIP guys are, we're bringing in a guy just to do the scene for you to make sure they sound authentic. Okay, buddy, thumbs up.
Bring in some actual English speakers, some proper like Americans or Britons or whatever. Or you just actually get someone from different countries who speaks English, because they're supposed to be this multinational group of VIPs. One of them's like Italian, and one's American, and one's Chinese.
Yeah. You could nail all of those with one linguist just on the team for the crew. Just one would be able to help them out, but oh well, there we are. I mean, the thing is, they probably got a lot of freedom and control because of how successful the first season was, right? That's kind of how it can often work.
Control even with writing this dialogue.
I think Wonder Woman 84 has permanently proven that we were in a place where studios would be like, listen, I don't understand why these guys like this sort of thing, but let him do what he does. They make a lot of money. And then they don't, and you're like, oh, shit.
You're never going to work in this town again.
Get out of here.
You're never going to make a Rogue Squadron movie.
No, that's for Sean Levy to do. He made Deadpool and Wolverine, don't you know?
I guess the lucky thing about it is, though, like, all it does is just aid to the cartoony impression of the VIPs. That would be a problem if the show ever wanted them to be something other than cartoony stereotypes. But because it doesn't, in a way, it doesn't matter. Like, it's weird and balked and horrible to listen to. What does anything they do really mean about the story, though? Like, what real involvement do they have?
As if we weren't in enough trouble, we are now solidly introducing another useless plot line. It's like, are you kidding me? And you're like, nah, sorry, man.
And you say plotline, nothing. They just talk a bit here and there.
They are extremely important to explain
to
the audience what is happening, that we already know what is happening. They're very good for that. There's a particular scene
kind of talking amongst themselves.
I think it's in the final game where the VIPs say things that I think one of them literally said something that I said while watching it, like in terms of, oh, I guess the drama here is blah 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 blah. And then, like, a few seconds later, the fucking VIP said the exact same thing. I was like, you are not allowed to say things about reviewing the fucking show. Stop it.
So, back in the common room. We've already done that. So, the VIPs then raise a toast to Chairman O, who you recall was the old man from the first season, who was the financier and founder of the games. After he's died, they've kind of made the front man in charge of it, and they said, "Oh wow, you've been doing such a great job at the games. He was wise to have appointed you. You have done great." And you raise a toast to him, and then some stuff happens that has to do with another plot that we're not going to talk about. So don't you worry about it.
I can just say, I really want to illustrate, because this is a serious problem, but because we can make jokes, but like I do want to just make sure it's pressed in. You see that scene where it's like the aftermath of the game, where you're sort of like, oh shit, I want to know what's happening. And it's like, okay, wait a sec, we're going to do some more organ plot line. You're like, okay. And then little bit more main plot line. You're like, oh. And then it's like back to, over to the VIPs, where you're like, okay, so we're doing like a 1-1-1-1. At least I get it 50% of the time that it moves to, no, sorry, now it's time for fucking organs again. You're like, okay, so then back to main plotline. It's like, no, now we're back to the boat. You're like, oh my god, I'm not getting it. It's like actually watching the show, and there's a man next to you hits pause, and then you have to wait 10 minutes while it buffers or some shit, and then you get the show.
Or he just like plays a different movie for you. He's like, hey, check out this part of a movie that I really don't like, and then he shows it to you, and you just have to watch. And he's all right. Let's go back to Squid Game.
Yeah, and it's like, you have all this time. You know how to write stuff. You've got some stuff in here. Why couldn't you write more stuff instead of the nothing stuff?
So in the VIP room, they are watching the voting play out. The front man explains that the ones here got to this point by killing one another, and of the 25 left, 16 are already wearing an O patch for continuing the game. So now they've kind of dragged the front man into like being an adult in a room full of children, and he has to explain things to them. It's really like almost condescending and patronizing.
At least when designing exposition scenes, that they can double up of meaning. Like all the exposition you get in Act 1 of Season 2 of Andor about Gorman and everything. It's like nobody's questioning that. It's like, oh, this isn't very good exposition. It's like, well, no, this is a secret project that Krennic is explaining to the entire team that are involved, and they've got different divisions, and this is going to play into the rest of the season. We know it's exposition, but it's totally fine because you know exactly what's happening. Here, this, I guess, counts the same way that the fucking frontman has to explain it to these actually brain-dead retards. But the thing is, there's nothing for us to, like, work with here. This is all stuff we kind of knew if you're just watching the show. Like, oh, it's going to be interesting now to see them vote Sickle or X because of the things they've been through recently, and the consequences of the vote will be this. It's like, yeah, I know. You guys have gone through this millions of times. Like, what? Why are we?
It makes me wonder why the VIPs. Go ahead.
Unlike the Andor example, like, where part of that scene, arguably the most important part of the scene, is learning how people respond to the exposition. You are building characters, and like how the characters react to information is what will determine the subsequent plot. In this version, there are no characters to respond to the information. It's almost like it's being given to slow members of the audience who might not have kept up or not been watching fully. It's like it's the most artful way, I guess, of that implementation of the Netflix standard, where you need to tell the audience periodically what's happening on screen in case they aren't watching. Yeah, at least scans like that, because there's no characters to react to this. It doesn't matter who's listening, because the VIPs are just like clown people. So
at least we know why exactly this is happening, that this is fucking mandated for shows now, and that you have to explain it over and over again in case someone truly did fall asleep between different scenes. Which, the irony, of course, for those who pay attention usually end up fucking falling asleep in these scenes. Like, well, I already know all this. I guess I'll wake up when there's a scene again.
It's the paying attention tax.
Which is like, oh god, the sorry state that we're in.
And honestly, it kind of brings up some world building implications about how come the VIPs don't know this. They've gone through all this trouble and effort to come here and to have all this stuff arranged and organized, and that they don't care about all the games up to this point. How come the VIPs aren't here the entire time to watch all of the games? How come they just show up near the end? Surely the franticness of the beginning is going to be even more exciting than some of the last games.
I didn't understand that about season 1. It's like, yeah, they were watching, and it's like, yeah, but if you're going to want to be there in person, surely you'd want to be viewing red light, green light from like a podium, right? That'd be crazy.
You'd want to.
And there's that, but then there's also just, these guys should be as fans of this as sports fans are of particular teams in the sport, right? Like, they should know potentially more than like a lot of the workers, maybe, because they're just so into it, like, passionately, and they've probably studied other games and rewatched them and stuff. Like, they should, it's just, you don't get that impression. They never get further than what they were created to be, which is, look at these rich assholes celebrating and enjoying and treating as a sport people killing each other and dying. It's like, I get that.
It's a comment on like how much more desperate and extreme entertainment has to get to satisfy its own audience. If VIPs come in and they say, well, we've seen all this stuff before, why don't you have them do this? Why don't you have them do this? Why don't you have them do this particularly depraved thing? And the games are always evolving in response to these demands of these VIPs because they've seen it before. And that's like a comment on like how shallow audiences will always demand like the most gratuitous thing in the end because they're just after base stimulation. Anything like that would have been, you don't even need them to be particularly well-drawn characters to accomplish that. At least it puts them involved in the narrative in some way besides just, well, I was going to call them ironic commentators, but they're not because there's no irony and there's no commentating. So fuck knows what they are.
And to be clear, some people are saying it's like, oh yes, the rise of like second monitoring or second screening. It's like, that's not the problem. I've watched plenty of shows second monitor and understood them, followed along with them, if you know what I mean. It's people just who aren't even listening at all. You can put something on the second monitor and know the show back to front. You could also put it on the second monitor and have no idea what happened. It depends on what you do when you second monitor. For example, if you're playing a video game that's mostly on mute or has like a chilled tune in the background, that your eyes can dart back and forth and you can listen to all the dialogue. That's very different than someone who puts it on the second monitor and sometimes just forgets it's even on, you know?
So the voting process begins. And we see here, interestingly, that Namgyu no longer wants the games to proceed. He seems stressed out already that his drugs are gone. He's getting jittery. He's going into withdrawal. So yeah, he wants out. He wants him to stop. Minsu sees him standing in the X group, and Minsu votes. Oh, he votes for the games to continue. So those are sort of an interesting pair of voting there. Yeah, see how they flip. Because Minsu knows that he's got the pendant with a cross. That's got the remaining drug inside. But Namgyu does not know. It's interesting, to see him flip. So that's neat. Now the old lady goes up to vote no, and then she pleads with all the others. She gets on her knees and says, "Please, if you vote no, then I'll give him your share. She's lived long enough. It wouldn't matter if she died here, but they can't let Junhee and the baby die." She begs them to vote no. But falls on deaf ears. The voting is pretty much what you'd expect at this point. Gi-hun is the last to vote, but he forfeits his vote again. So it's a 16-8 and the abstention to continue the games. Myung-gi, he goes to Junhee, his ex, now that the baby's been born, but they don't speak. Like they don't really manage to actually say anything after what happened with Hyunju.
I think there was an opportunity. It is weird that there has been no commentary on the baby yet, given like how unusual, unexpected, and potentially very important it is. There will be some later. I just wonder whether they should have actually introduced this basically now and had it seeming to change a lot of people's minds, because people react this way to babies. Babies are important, in some ways more important than material goods and things like that. If they'd had it, for example, that the old woman's appeal was actually quite successful, the vote was looking incredibly close, and in response to that, the game masters decide the baby is going to be a player in order to demonstrate the ultimate victory of the self over non-you concerns. Something like that, at least then we've addressed it, we've acknowledged its importance, and we've then shown how desperately selfish a lot of these people are by showing that the minute the baby's in competition with them, they will change their minds. I'd have probably done that during the vote and before this point even. We don't do that, though. I mean, like the decision to add to the baby, which will be made shortly, happens, I don't say independently of anything, but it's not really closely connected.
It is baffling that the Squid Game people don't address the baby. I don't understand what the fuck's going on.
I mean, we don't get any commentary from Myung-gi about it. He's the father. He doesn't say anything. They don't talk. They don't say anything about it. That's wild. Like, this is your child. It's been born. It's here in this situation with you.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say about it? What does Jun-hee have to say about it to you? Do you have to talk about it or no? I mean, some of the players mention it later, but it's almost like it's in response to what the ruling is on the baby instead of like, holy shit, what's going on? I agree. So, we got some stuff we could skip. Fuck it. Now the old lady goes over to Jun-hee and says, listen, you need to eat. You need to keep up your strength. You have to live if the baby's going to live. Here's a potato. Here's some water. Because that's what they get now. They get potatoes and water. Potatoes are delicious.
Really given up on giving them like good food, I would say.
Yeah.
In terms of like well-prepared food. Because yeah, potatoes is fine, but it's like so basic.
Well,
because they got double potatoes. They got the sweet potato, and then they got the regular potato.
Jesus Christ, the amount of fucking content you just moved through, I just realized, like, yeah, organs, boat.
Oh, we can go back. We can talk about it if you want.
No,
but
so
I don't.
I was going to say, season 1 did the same thing, right? That the food became more scarce as time went on, if I remember. Is that a thing?
I think so. Yeah. It starts out like not bad.
Yeah.
And I like the element that sort of it adds almost to this sense of desperation as time goes on. That even the food and the water that we get is getting much more simple to where it's not even it's a potato and a bottle of water.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what you get. So very but it's good, you know. It helps to it gives us sort of almost a roadmap for the show in terms of the tone that it takes, how much more desperate it gets, and
it's more than the baby gets at all, right? Does the baby ever get fed at all?
Twice.
No, I must have blanked those scenes.
The baby gets fed at the last dinner, and it gets breastfed.
Yeah.
Oh.
Closest we're getting to a tit, so savor it. Now, well, though the Mystic Lady died, so. Because the surviving players arrive back in the common room as the VIPs watch from their lounge. The VIPs wonder what to do with the baby. And one of them says it isn't fair to eliminate somebody who crossed the finish line. But another one says that since it's dependent... This is so stupid. Right? One of them says that since it's dependent on its mother, who died, the baby should also die. But... which is like... What?
They're not even human. They're just like weird dialogue delivering machines.
It's like a chat bot, but 5 years ago or something. But I can actually imagine like an AI chat bot saying that. Well, logically, if a baby requires its mother to live and its mother dies, then through the transitive property of survival, the baby must therefore also die.
It is ethical.
It's more ethical to kill a baby than say the N-word. Is probably what it would say. But yeah, another says the leading VIP guy says that it should be considered an independent participant since they allowed it to cross independent of the mother anyway. And the front man tells him when they ask him that the baby should take the place of her mother and be player 222, and it'll make the game more interesting. And the VIPs agree. So the baby is now player 222.
We are nearing.
So
I mean, this has now made all of the Squid Game people like it's confirmed in stone, definitive, absolutely stupid, and goes against everything they believe in as far as we were told they believe in. Seeing Frontman be like, "What if we made the baby a player?" It's like, who the fuck are you?
Dude. Yeah, what happened, man? I thought you had like an ideology that like a crazy,
well, he was fast tracked to like being a favorite character in season 2, and now he's just like, man, who cares about you? I guess.
Yeah, Frontman's just sort of around when he used to be super cool.
And so yeah, it's damage to him, damage to all the Squid Game people, and now it's like stacking damage on all the players. The fact that barely any of them have talked about the fact that there's a baby here. As long as we don't, it's bad enough that they're not all collectively saying this is fucked up, there's a baby, what the hell are you guys doing, this is horrible. As long as they don't all, decide as a team that they should murder the baby. As long as we're not at that point.
Go insane, turn into these it's crazy goblins.
That would be weird if they did that.
Anyway, one of them says that player 222 is back in the game. This is a bigger twist than the resurrection of Jesus. Line from the show.
What?
The line from the show.
I don't know what they think they were saying with that line. What was the intent?
That it's a really big comeback.
Did they just Google twists and just go with the first one that came up?
Could you believe Darth Vader was a ghost the whole time? It's a crazy twist.
So, two of the players are talking together in the common room on the O team, and they decide that they've got enough money, since they'll be getting about 5.6 billion won each. And they imagine that should be enough for everyone to settle their debts, apart from the businessman, since he owes 10 billion. And they start to arrange to vote X when the guards arrive. Now, the guards present the money and say that 16 players were eliminated and that 9 people remain. Each person's share is 5 billion, and they notify the players that the baby is now player 222. And the other players are quite angry about this, since the money should go to them, and the baby's done nothing to deserve it and gets to share the money anyway. The baby being alive reduces the money by 700 million won. And the 5-0 players without Minsu then start going forth to eliminate the baby. They're going to go kill this baby.
They become completely unhinged psychos, basically.
I get maybe 1 or 2 psychopathic characters, but like, are we seriously doing this? That just normal people who are thrust into this situation, like, yeah, I'll kill a baby. Yeah, okay. I'll kill a baby.
So it's like, dude, it's so unfair that the baby's getting the money because the baby didn't have to do anything to earn it. It's like, dude, it's a baby. Like, what is going on? They've lost their minds.
I find it so lame.
It starts to strain against what I thought the theme of the show was as well. And certainly, you have the repeating line, and it will come up again later in this, like, we are not horses. But actually, kind of the show that you get here, everyone is, except for one guy. So he's just
because we fucking
wrong.
killed the other characters that were absolutely not horses either.
Mm-hmm. Which is, again, so he's wrong. Like, if you're not a horse, then you lose. So everyone left is a horse. We are all horses at the end of the day, which ain't really the message I thought they were trying to get across. But it's the utility in keeping alive. Well, characters generally, but characters who are nice particularly, is that actually you can allow them to make sacrifices in favor of the theme rather than sacrifices with nothing very much to do with it.
I suppose what's strange is that when you compare it to the first game had more, like, better people in it, like, in terms of people who were trying to make, like, the right choices or the good choices, to the point that they were almost going to get out of there until Sang-woo basically prevented that from happening. Whereas in this case, it's like, Gi-han is the only, like, moral one left, and he's in a room filled with, like, psychopaths. And if the point is, well, that's the kind of person who would make it to the end of the game, it's like, okay, all right, look, there's a degree to which these guys are notably unhinged. And I think even the writer would have to concede that, like, given the circumstances, they are pretty insane. Like, insane to a degree that actually is kind of unbelievable that literally all of them are on the same page with this one. That it is a compelling argument. Well, the lady's dead, so it's not fair that the baby gets the money. It's like, what? Okay, all right. But moreover, it's like, so what are you trying to say, Mr. Ryder? Like, what is your point that you're trying to make about like human beings? Like,
they will kill babies in order to get money. That's how disgusting humans are. All right. Someone said the show actually decided that of the final contestants, you have Master Soul, Jesse Pinkman, and 6 Hitlers. Why not, I guess.
So the evil humans go to kill the baby, the Hitlers. The 5 Hitlers go to kill the baby. But a guard is there, and he fires a pistol as a warning shot and says violence against other players is no longer permitted, as they want to give every player a fair chance.
They say this with a straight face.
Like, okay, there's a baby. You made a baby a player, but okay.
We want everybody to have a fair chance, all right?
I've seen it said,
and the Squid Game, like the actual game's organizers are now better than the people who are playing the game, because they're the ones with a code of ethics. Like, you're not allowed to kill the baby.
And apparently,
that probably shouldn't come from the people who are being portrayed as the villains, but it is.
Yeah, no, I think you got a point there, as well as this, because I've seen it said in different discussions online and stuff, and I think we've covered enough to make this point too. Everything is falling apart in the story to create what is obviously going to be a specific payoff with this baby. Everything has been like, a lot of characters have been sacrificed in order to make it happen, and now like this absurdity is happening, and they even have the Squid Game officials having to move rules around in order to make sure certain things happen. Because I think the writers thought, yeah, okay, the Hitlers would obviously immediately want to kill the baby, so we're going to have to protect the baby with the Squid Game official. But it's like, you guys could have just had them not want to kill a baby. Like, that was always on the table. You could have just had that as an option.
They'll probably say was like, well, one of the people over there has to take care of the baby. That makes him weaker and more likely to fail in the test. So it's actually good that the baby is weighing down one of those other players. And if he dies, the baby dies with him, and that means we get extra money. So it's like a 2-for-1. Or they go kill the baby.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we're gonna skip some Woo plot. We're gonna skip some policeman stuff. We're gonna skip some more stuff.
There's a lot of police and boat. Holy shit.
A lot of police stuff, a lot of
so boy,
we're just scrolling. Oh, we scrolling.
Given how much of the game is actually left, and there's still like 2.5 episodes. Yeah, it's kind of remarkable how much of the other storylines we've got left that we can just skip.
We cut out that was a big old chunk where Wu goes to the police precinct and breaks into the house, and oh man, that's all gone.
Yep.
So, back in the common room, a fine dinner has been prepared for the surviving players who are now dressed in suits. A guard even has a bottle to feed the baby who's in the crib. Now, the players chow down on all the food as the VIPs watch them. And one of the VIPs says that he's worried that with the big cash prize, surely the players will be satisfied with the money and will vote to end the games. But the frontman says, don't you worry, there will be another game if the players all think they will survive. So,
all I was thinking is like, but yeah, because it's going to be some fucking ruse that none of the players recognize, even though they've been fucked over several times by vague language. Like, we're going to see that none of the characters think, there is information that they are omitting here that will fuck us, because the games are designed to eliminate people. They are designed to systematically eliminate a general number of people to whittle the playing field down. Yeah.
Like, they're not trying to give you money out of the kindness of their fucking hearts, guys. Like, how do you not figure?
When they say something that makes you think that you can survive, it's a trick of some kind. And it's not that they're lying, but it is that they're often lying by omission, or they're not providing you with the complete information that you would need to actually make a decision. But
if you came to me and you said, do you want 5 billion won, or do you want to risk your life for even more on a vague game?
You want to risk it all.
I'm taking the box. I'm taking the 5 billion won.
Yeah, obviously, but oh well.
I don't understand. There wasn't any nuclear material in the truck.
So a manager goes.
Great episode.
Anyway,
it is a good one. I agree. So a manager goes into the common room, and he says that they are going to vote on whether or not they're going to have the next game. But first, they get a hint about the next game. A little hint, a little clue. Basically, if they all decide which 3 players will be eliminated, everybody else will make it through the game, as they only need to eliminate a minimum of 3 players. So that's the clue, the hint, the sneak peek that they get. The voting begins.
3 players. It's like, what are you... guys.
It's so... I can't believe they couldn't even entertain having a character say, like, that could mean anything. Like, the idea that we'll just run on that and then potentially get us all killed. It's like, why? We should take the money. This is stupid.
Just take the $5 billion and run.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, businessman, that only gets him half of the money that he needs.
It's only one vote, too.
He would keep going.
Yeah. But yeah. So, like, I'm okay with having him refuse, but the rest of them have to have fucking half a brain cell, right?
So, you would think so, but the voting begins. Gi-hun votes X. Player 353 votes O. Player 336 votes O. Myung-gi votes O. The baby is considered abstaining due to the inability to make decisions.
Interesting.
Literally, they say this. Player 203, the Sparta kicker, votes O. Min-soo who's been chugging water this whole time, probably because of the drugs wearing off. And it's his time to vote now, and he votes X. The businessman votes O, and the last person says he would have voted O anyway. So the O's have it. Businessman raises a toast for them to do their best, but Gi-hun doesn't drink to it. And we're going to skip some stuff, because fuck it.
Right, I was actually thinking, because we're in episode 4, like, 3rd quarter, and I was just having the thought that I actually had at the time of watching the episode, how are there still 2 more episodes after this? What the hell is going to happen?
I was thinking that too. I was thinking the entirety of the last episode might just be resolutions for everything, or people dealing with island stuff, or like police raiding the island or something. And then the next episode would be the entirety of the game. But guys, we have skipped over a lot of the B and C plot. And
as was mentioned, there are problems with them. There are plenty of plot problems that happen, but it's just, I would rather just conclude they're bad. They are very bad. It's just very bad, not good.
Oh, again, I do want us to talk about the demise of the manager guy, because it's fucking funny.
It is funny. So,
but we're not there yet.
So the X players conspire with each other to vote out Gi-hun, the baby, and Min-soo. They agree to make a pact to only eliminate those 3 and walk away with 7.6 billion won each. They all put their hand in and agree on the strategy. One even says maybe it's a good thing that the baby showed up, which tactically might actually kind of be the case for the nature of this game, even though they don't really know what the details will be. So that night, in the common room, as they're about to all go and sleep, Gi-hun is approached by a manager who takes him to see the front man. He leads him to the front man's office, where the front man is, with his front man chair, front man drink, and he says to Gi-hun that he wants to give him a chance, and he gives Gi-hun a knife and says to kill the trash who wanted to kill the baby. And he could slit their throats as they sleep. Gi-hun asks why, and the front man takes off his mask and reveals that he is Hwang In-ho.
Whoa!
Oh my holy crap. Now Gi-hun draws the knife and stands up, shocked at the revelation. He's angry. He's upset. It's this guy that was like my friend, that was my compatriot, that we spent time with and won games together. He's actually the front man. Holy crap. Well, the front man says that once Gi-hun kills the trash, there will not be enough players to complete the final game. So by the rules, the games will end, and he and the baby will get out alive. Front man gives his word on this. Frontman says that killing the others before they can kill him is the best choice that he can make right now. And Gi-hun leaves, angry, and the frontman asks if he still has faith in people. But Gi-hun says nothing. He exits the room and returns to the common room. And that is episode 4.
That is also pretty much all we get for those two, right?
That is it.
Yes.
That's it.
I was distinctly disappointed with how they handled this. I thought season 2 did a really good job of getting us somewhere, and this
invested in their relationship. And
I already had a problem with taking Frontman out of the game early. I think that was a bad move. In retrospect, I realize now that they had completely different goals, and that Frontman being in the game was kind of just we'll do that as a gimmick to keep people going until we get to the part we want to tell as a story. Whereas I'm sitting here like, that was the way more interesting thing that you did. But okay,
that was a great idea.
And just the idea of having Frontman reveal himself in game 5 or 6 or something, it just feels like the drama would have been through the fucking roof, and there could have been so many things you could do. But,
yeah, they don't have a chat. They don't talk. They don't have a discussion on the nature of the games, why they should exist, that they'll exist as long as people want to participate in them, that this is a bottom-up problem and people want to do this. And yeah, there's a lot of death, but this is something that people volunteer for, and for them the risk is everything. And they don't have any of these talks, no discussions, nothing. It's just, he just gives them the knife and tells them what he can do, and that's it. It's done. It's over.
Yeah.
So, back in the common room, Gi-hun stands over the baby's cradle, and then he goes towards the sleeping O players as Frontman watches from the screen in his room. And the Frontman then has a flashback to when Il-nam, the old man, the founder of the games, is speaking to him while wearing a mask, and has given the Frontman a knife, and is making the same offer to In-ho that he just gave to Gi-hun. So, Gi-hun stands over the businessman, sleeping, and we see while this is happening a mirrored past between when In-ho took that knife and the offer from Il-nam and did stab the sleeping man in the neck. He stabbed him, and then he stabbed all the rest. He killed all of the sleeping players when he was given the knife and the offer was made to him. And we cut to Gi-hun contemplating stabbing the sleeping businessman. But as he puts the knife to the businessman's throat, he sees a vision of Andrew! Andrew's back, everybody! Not really. This is Kang Sai-byok. This is the lady who died in season 1 that we called Andrew as a joke. She was stabbed in her sleep by the second contestant, Cho Sang-woo. And the vision of Andrew says not to do it. She says, "You are not that kind of person."
Wrong.
And the vision dissipates.
He is wrong.
He's a little bit awkward because he killed someone.
Killed twice.
Yeah.
So,
the second time was more disconnected in a sense of like, well, maybe he wasn't doing it on purpose, but one of them is like hyper definitive.
As far as I'm concerned, they can't do this storyline anymore. It's locked out. You're gonna have to do something else. Because and if you want to get it such that he doesn't kill these guys, you need something different, because he's already understood the nature of taking lives for the better, right? If you are definitively locked in, you know you and the baby are close to death right now. These fellas want to kill you. They just proved to you they will willingly fucking stomp that baby to death, as well as you. You've got the chance to save yourself, and if it's like, yeah, but this is a bit different because they're sleeping, I'd be like, you serious?
Fuck that.
You serious?
Yeah, like,
It makes it good. Makes it easier.
What is the notion in terms of being present? Like they're trying to get a baby. Like these guys
are murderers.
Like,
these guys are murderers.
They're done. it's over for them. So
morally, they're bought and paid for.
It would be horrible. It would be brutal, but it's got to be done. You understand all the variables at this point. It sucks, but you've got to do it. And so, if the show was like, but he won't, I'd be like, okay, tell me why. It's like, because he's not that kind of guy. It's like, what do you mean? You can't make that argument. You already said he is. He made
a promise to protect the baby.
Well,
He's got a moral job to do that he is committed to.
What I'm getting at is first kill was out of a sense of revenge, right? Really angry and definitively. You could argue there's a tad bit of self-defense. Not really. It's mostly revenge. He was really pissed off. Second one was he needed to clear the bridge as soon as possible to save a woman. So you're like, okay, where are we going with this? How much further you go? And it's like, this one would be to save the life of an innocent baby. Like, what? Yeah, that's the most motivation you could have had out of the three.
It is at this point that I felt incredibly disappointed in his character, more than probably any other point that I really felt. I thought this is the obvious correct move is to kill them.
The other problem is that they have now locked him in. A lot of writers do this because they're scared of making their main character do a particular thing. And so now, if he ends up... Because I was like, so then he's dead, right? What are you going to do? Contrivingly pull him out of having to make these difficult decisions? Superman style?
Well, yeah, of course that's
Of course, because that's the only thing left in your fucking toolbox.
Well, and the reality is the show is just not reliably good enough that you can rule that out as a possibility. Unfortunately, it's much more likely that the show will essentially use contrivances to get where they want to go because they've done it before.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's reliably bad enough to expect that. And this is a guy who's been through the games before. He knows how they work. He knows what the likelihood is that the last time it ends up 1-on-1, the likelihood is it ends up lots and lots of people who still inevitably will die at some point. He will be presented with this choice again in a less controlled circumstance with a higher risk of failure. I guess it's fine to kill people in the course of a game, but not here. Reasons.
This is what I mean. He's not
choke a guy out to death, basically
out of revenge,
not even out of self-preservation, because he's going to kill himself right afterward. That was just so that guy doesn't get to live anymore. Meanwhile, you got like these psychos here, and you got to try and protect the baby. Like the notion that's like, oh well, that would be like a moral wrong. It's like, dude, these guys are insanely evil.
And that's the thing, right? If he did it, and then frontman said, like, to me, for example, he'd be like, see, we're no different. I'd be like, whatever, I was saving a baby. Like, what did you do? I think it's more about not giving frontman the satisfaction. You think sacrificing a baby's worth that? Do you think that's in his character?
That's insanely
worse. That's the worst argument.
That's really awful. Like, well, I'm not going to let you get the win, so I'm just going to put this baby's life in jeopardy in order to prove a point to you. What a stupid decision to make. That's profoundly dumb.
You could make the case the other way. He's already proven a point to the frontman in the sense that he's forced him to change and bend the rules of his game, which is supposed to be sacrosanct, in order to make his point. Like, he's already accepted the premise that there are some human qualities he cannot control within the rules of the game. He's just done that by making you this offer.
Frontman did a bunch of killing, and he runs the games, and so he's like, it's a little bit more complicated than Mr. Paragon thinks it is. He's already got him to kill 2 people. He's won. So the idea that it's like, well, I'm not going to kill him because then you'd be right. He's already right. What do you mean? Because it was never tough for me to buy that there would be scenarios in which not only would I choose to kill somebody, but so would Guion. He was obviously going... You can write it in lots of ways, but he was eventually going to have to kill someone. I didn't think they would open with a revenge kill. I thought they would build it up where he has to choose an act, like in Mingle, for example, like choosing between 2 people in a room, grabbing one and throwing them out of the room, that sort of thing, where it's like, oh shit, yeah, I guess you killed them. Like, so that you could say something a little bit more morally complicated. But like, they had him kill for revenge first. It's like, you're done. That's it. You've killed. So yeah, not a fan of this at all. And I think it's cope from the writers having her show up and be like, you're not a killer. It's like, yeah, he is. Like, it's just silly. Stop it. Get help.
McDonald's wants you to be all you can be.
Yeah, and this is not all you can be. Kill those Hitlers.
No.
That's right. Kill them. Kill the Hitlers. You've failed if you don't. But yeah, he decides not to kill them because he's wrong.
As someone mentioned, the Penguin went through with doing the hard shit. It's like, yeah, and that show kicks ass. It really committed to a lot of dark shit that was the reality of the situation, right? More of those.
Even though, didn't the writer of this show say that he was gonna? It was something. He said something about the idea of not necessarily doing a happy ending, but like the ending that the story should have. And it's just funny that he says this when it's like, look at the story that you've written, though. Like, you don't really. This is something you say, but not something that you consistently do.
Save that baby.
Unfortunately, Gihan does not save the baby. He allows the Hitlers to live. He'll sacrifice 1,000 Hitlers before he lets this child live.
He'll save 1,000 Hitlers.
I'll save 1,000 Hitlers before I let this child live. Is what he says. So, the common room lights turn on to awaken all the players. We skip a bunch of bullshit, and then the players arrive in the next game. So,
oh my god, there's so much bullshit.
There really is. Boof! All that gets done. Don't worry about it.